All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. We got out on the lake, so this is how that went.
They are real. They do exist. There you go.
Yeah. The people to east and west of us, well, north and south of us, I guess, just catching them all night, and we finally had one commit. So maybe it's the beginning of a school, and we're about to have some fun. I don't know. We'll see, but we got one on the board. Let's go. It was a beautiful evening on the lake. Hunter at least hooked up on something. We were marking some fish, nothing crazy, never landed any walleye, but it was fun regardless, and little did I know that would be the last time we got on the lake for a while. If you've been living under a rock, you know that the ice is not good this year. Tons of videos on TikTok and YouTube. One from our lake here that went viral of a dude. They were skiing on the 27th of December. They had the boat out and they were skiing. There's another one where, a dude's on his jet ski with geese flying with him. It's been horrible for the ice this year because of how warm it's been. We got some cold temps coming, and I know where we could probably get on the lake, and do some more fishing here soon if these cold temps hold. I just don't know what we're gonna catch for fish. So we're gonna try to get out here soon, but I had to update you guys a little bit on the last time we went fishing. And also I do a quick just like gear review video here real quick of just, I've gotten some questions on how the shack's holding up, so I'll show you guys the damage that's been done to the shack or what I'd change or how things are holding up. And I'll just go over a quick little list of, some suggestions for you guys. I think that's the best use of time right now. I wanted to post a video regardless of what we got on the ice or not. So, we got out, it didn't go well, and it doesn't look good to getting out on any of the lakes that I really want to go out on. After the last drag out, I told myself I wouldn't get on the lake without the side-by-side again, but it's looking like we're gonna have to walk out a couple more times before we can get the side-by-side on any lake around here. I could possibly take a trip up north. It's really the only options, but if you've seen the news, it's, Red Lake had a little mishap earlier this month, and that's extremely unfortunate, and that's at all costs what I'm trying to avoid. Fishing, even though I do it for you guys, is not that important to me. I usually don't even drive the side-by-side until other people are driving their trucks. It's just, I like to be safer than sorry. People are walking on the south end of Mille Lacs, but because there's still open water, those shelves can move, and I don't want to be any part of that. So without further ado, let's just talk about a couple things. I'll get to the shack in a second. Ultimately, I want to start with IFish Pros. They're still great, still loving them, but one thing I want to talk about real quick is this. I've talked about this a couple of times when it comes to IFish Pros. Here's an IFish Pro 1. There's no insulation in there. I took a hole cover and just cut it to fit and hot glued it. This hot glue and this hole cover has been on there for, well, this will be the 4th year now, and it's still holding strong. It keeps the holes from freezing really well. Now, no matter what, IFish Pros have this. There's a very large hole in the middle there. A lot of cold air can get down in there, so you'll still get some freezing. It's not like you can go leave these out literally all night and never check them. You go check the ice once in a while, but this hole cover hot glue situation, that's all I did. This is a thin hole cover too. It's just like one of those 1-inch pieces of foam with hot glue around the edge. It holds, you don't have to worry about that falling out. You just go all the way around with hot glue, push that in there, you're good to go. That works infinitely better than the 2.0s that come insulated. I don't know why I don't know why. I can't tell you like, oh, the foam that they used under this cover is bad. I don't know. I haven't opened it up either. There's some screws to open it up. Maybe add your own foam or even just do the same thing, throw another whole cover in there. But just know, even though the 2.0s are insulated, you're gonna run into some hole freezing problems more than if you just glue a whole cover in from your old tip-ups. And I wish I had more of a scientific answer for you. Like maybe there's too much of a gap between here and the ice. I can't be sure why. I just know their insulation inside of this 2.0 is not nearly as good as just putting a whole cover in a 1.0 or even adding a whole cover to the 2.0. But either way, quick little update on those. This is still my favorite rod for an IFish Pro, even though I haven't had a ton of action on it if you've been watching the videos. But regardless, this is still one of my favorite rods for the IFish Pro for walleyes specifically. It is a 13 fishing heat wave, 28 medium. The number one reason I like this rod for the IFish Pros is the price. I got this whole setup for $29.99. So you cannot complain when those are the prices. I would like to go to a 30 inch. Like I have this, oh, that's a 28 too, this one. Is this 30? Yeah. I like this 30 medium heavy, but I can't recommend it because as you can see, there's some tape on it there. The eyelet broke on it like right away. So, you know, that could have been from me. I don't store my things very nicely. I do like the rod better because this just comes with these cheap, you know, rubber rings. This actually has a cork handle that you screw it into. Big fan of this. I just can't recommend it because it broke on me. And when things break on me, unless they are free, I don't like to recommend them. Now, I feel like I'm kind of shoving it down your guys' throats, how much I talk about this, but for a rod and reel combo, especially if you're just gonna get one for everything, like you're like me, you don't have 20 jigging rods, you just want to carry one, and no matter what you're fishing for, no matter what you get on the lake, like say you're going out for walleyes, but the crappie schools are massive, you're not scrambling to get another rod. There's one rod and one reel that I recommend for that, and that is the Black Betty Free Fall. Absolutely love them. The newer ones, I had said it in a couple of videos, they got this window, so it prevents that line jump from coming out the side of the reel, like so many have problems. Like this one here, this was my first ever. These are my first ever inline reels. Still love them. CGI, Cold Gear Ice brand, number 8 tackle. These were awesome. These are the first ones I ever owned. They were super cheap, but the line would constantly jump out of that spool and you'd tangle up and then you're pulling it out and stuff. But, you know, still recommend if you're on a budget, getting just any inline. I love inline reels so much. I can't recommend them enough. And then for a panfish rod, like if you're just going out to catch dinners and panfish and crappies, the snitch is incredible. This is a 25-inch light snitch, and it's just, you know, there's a really good backbone there to set that hook on those crappies and stuff, but the tip is very sensitive. But regardless, that's the improvement that this free fall gives you here, is that window, prevent the line jumping out the reel. A medium light 27 is that perfect middle ground. You have enough backbone to set the hook and reel in the walleyes. You know, I caught a 25-incher on it. If you're catching 30 inchers or 28 inchers, you're catching big walleyes, you're gonna wanna go to a heavy rod. But regardless, this will catch the smallest of smallest perch and the biggest walleyes and everything in between, so I still absolutely recommend that. Fish finders, I always tell you, one of the greatest units ever made is an FL18. It's just a perfect middle-of-the-road flasher, but if you can absolutely afford it, no matter what, just go to a live scope. Don't even mess around with anything else. It's just not even worth it. Live scopes, I will 100% warn you, it is a hassle to have them, to be hole hopping. You know, with the Vexar, you just drop it in, you're fishing, but the live scopes, they pay for themselves instantly when you're finding schools of fish 100, 200 feet away from you and you're not drilling 100 holes, you're drilling 3. Live scopes are the way to go. But the shack. I have the Eskimo 2600. These chairs are more comfortable than they look. I get that question a couple of times. They are rigid with all that metal structure, so they are very comfortable. You're not taking a nap in them and feeling great. Don't get me wrong. Like, comfortable is relative to other ice shack seats. But the mount on them, you could easily get like a nice boat seat and throw it in here if you wanted to, and just replace the mount. You could do that, and it'd be super nice because these do slide back and forth, side to side when the cover's up. But I will warn you, the first time we ever had this one out, it broke. There's a little stamped nut that holds the seat to the mount. That broke the first year. I put a bolt in it, and it's been great ever since, and I put another bolt in the shack. I just keep it in a little container in case this one ever breaks. I'm on the ice. I can fix it. I would 100% recommend, if you're a bigger fella like me, to just have a bolt ready. Bring a bolt and washers. Just toss it in there just in case. I might be an outlier on that, but, you know, just something to mention that it hasn't been perfect with the shack. That broke. I stepped on that bar, and I stepped on this first bar 2 years ago, or last year. I stepped on this bar. It bent a little bit, and ever since then, it doesn't slide the greatest up and down. So whenever we're packing it up or putting it up, this bar on this side is started to wear down on me. I'm gonna grease it up. I think that'll help a lot because there's some metal on metal because of the bend. But ultimately, nothing else is broken on the shack. The skin itself is held up fantastic, no rips or tears. The skirt has ripped almost all the way off, but that's really on me, you know, like just ripping around without ever thinking about it, letting it freeze in and pulling the shack away. That's on me. If you take 2 seconds to tuck the skirt when you drive around, you're gonna be just fine. But I've drug it across blacktop with a skirt riding underneath the shack. Like, it's just dumb, but I had to say it. The rubber flooring I got the first year has been holding up. This was a Northland tool purchase. I'll put a link to the description if I can find one similar. This hasn't ripped, removed, you know, broke, torn, nothing in all the years that I've been using it. I just have it pinched with a 2x2 here to the sled, and then you roll it up and hook it. Still a fantastic solution if you ask me. I love having a floor when you're fishing, and I hate the foam tiles and dealing with them, and they're all wet, and then you got to make sure they don't fly out of the shack, or you got to have a home for them. I am an extremely convenient person over everything else. So this takes a little more work to get it in and out of the truck. It adds quite a bit of weight, I'm not gonna lie. But ultimately, the convenience of rolling it out and rolling it up for a floor in your shack is undefeated. But last but not least, I will always and forever recommend the K-drill. The K-drill with the clam auger plate. I even added the 3x1 gearbox on here, so it gears it down 3-to-1. So I run my drill on high speed. It's still slow. Like, you're not gaining speed. Oh, I need a new cover for this thing. No, that's for sure. You're not gaining any speed with this gearbox, but it is removing all of the torque off of your drill, and you're gonna extend the longevity no matter what brand you have. This one is the least torque spec that K-drill recommends at 700 inch-pounds. That's all this drill puts out. And ever since I put this gearbox on, 0 issues. I drill 1,000 holes. Not literally. I should do a video on how many holes I drill, but I tell you, I've been out there with a 9 amp hour battery in the last 2 videos, and I've drilled nothing short of 50 holes, 60 holes at 6 inches ice, and it used 1 bar. The first night we went out, I definitely drilled 60 holes. It was like 15 to 20 at the first spot. It was another 10. So it was pushing 60 holes at 6 inches of ice, and it used 2 bars. So, and this is where I leave you guys. Quick little gear update and suggestions for the upcoming season. Nothing, you know, the new Ions look great, but I haven't seen them in person, so, you know, Other than that, there's not really a lot of innovation or new gear out for ice fishing for the last couple of years, and you know, we just got to keep our fingers crossed that this cold weather sticks around and we can do some ice fishing soon. But regardless, this is where I leave you guys. Quick little gear update, little update from when we were on the water, and fingers crossed we can get on the ice again. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, see you on the ice.